Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here. Friday, April 11th. Got a fun show planned for y'all. Happy Friday. Happy weekend to all of y'all out there. This coming out in the afternoon on Friday. So I hope y'all have a fun, safe weekend. NFL draft less than 2 weeks away. So exciting. And we talked earlier about what the Jaguars NFL draft strategy might be in terms of like what types of players they're trying to add from a personality standpoint, what types of players they might be looking to add from a skill set standpoint, the positions, all that good stuff. And right now, we're going to look at some second round targets that I wouldn't say they're sneaky second round targets, but maybe names that haven't been talked about a ton by national media, by myself, by folks around Jaguars media, Jacksonville media, right? For the Jaguars with their second round pick, which is currently slated to be pick 36 overall. We do know James Gladstone comes from a organization, the Rams, that have been very active in the draft trade market. So it's possible the Jaguars are not picking at 36. It's possible they trade up. It's possible they trade down. There's a lot of different possibilities. Right now, they have the 36 overall pick in the draft, and the consensus pick for them at 5 overall right now is Mason Graham. I don't think there's any reason to kind of shy away from that. It makes a lot of sense in a lot of different ways when you talk about the Jaguars' need for a real big-time interior penetrator they can build around, making a strength a strength. You have Mason Smith, who had a big-time end of his rookie year. You have Eric Armstead under contract for the next couple of years. You can potentially move on from him after 2025. But dropping Mason Smith in there, now you just have a dynamic defensive front, really dynamic defensive front. And I think he's intangibly rich. I think he has the type of skill set, penetration style guy, but can also hold up at the point of attack. All those reasons, he makes sense at 5. But looking at 36, there's a lot of guys that I think could potentially make sense. And I had a list of like over 10 guys here that I wanted to talk about. I'm going to break it up into 2 different shows just because I think there is like a line of delineation. I think that these players that we're going to talk about here today are going to be very high on the board at 36 overall, if they're still there. I also wanted to mention before we get into this list of guys, we're not going to talk about Luther Burden, Emeka Ibuka, because we've talked about them a lot already. I think both of them would be fits for the Jaguars in the second round. Donovan Jackson, I don't think makes it to 36, the guard/tackle out of Ohio State, but I think he would be a fit for the Jaguars. Gray Zabel would be a fit for the Jaguars at 36 as well. I don't think he makes it. Interior offensive lineman, played tackle at North Dakota State, but he's going to kick inside. Donovan Ezuraku out of Boston College, a fit for the Jaguars, the edge rusher. I don't think he makes it. And then Derek Harmon, another one who I think would be a fit for the Jaguars, but just can't really see him falling all the way to 36. But if any of those guys were on the board at 36, and it's possible someone is, yes, big-time fits for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But now getting into the guys we're talking about today. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Going to start it off with a position that the Jaguars did actually address in free agency. It's corner. Savone Revel out of East Carolina. And the reason that he could potentially be available at 36 overall is because he suffered a torn ACL early on in the 2024 campaign. Had that not happened, I think Revel could have been a top 10 pick. That's how he was trending, because this guy has unbelievable length, athleticism, closing speed. I think he has a great feel for route concepts developing in front of him, and he can bait quarterbacks into really bad throws. And to me, the Jaguars said they're not going to shy away from being aggressive when they can be. I think if 36, Savone Revel, a player who really has legitimate first-round talent and really maybe even in this class, top 10 talent, he was injured early on in the season. Like, there's a chance he's ready to go for the start of the season. ACLs usually don't take a year for a guy like this anymore. And the benefit of having signed Jordan Lewis, having Jarian Jones, having Tyson Campbell, you might not absolutely have to have him for the very beginning of the season. You can bring him along a little slower. So he's just somebody, I think, if they're really trying to build out the best team they possibly can for 2025 and beyond, I think he would be a tremendous fit for them because the talent level at 36 would be off the charts for Savone Revel out of East Carolina. And a real big-time freak athlete. Darius Alexander up next for me out of Toledo. He's a player that a little bit older prospect. I don't think that has scared James Gladstone and the Rams away before. But when you pull up Darius Alexander, his profile, when I watch him play, I see somebody who is a really good run defender, has great hands, plays with great length, has unbelievable athleticism, really, at his size. Came in at the combine 6'4", 305, 34-inch arms, 10-inch hands. All those numbers are excellent. 4.95 40-yard dash at that size, 1.7 210 split, 31.5-inch vert, 9.3 broad, 7.6 3-cone, 4.79 20-yard shuttle, and 28 bench press reps. 28 bench press reps with 34-inch arms is not an easy feat. He tested out of his mind. And I think when you look at his skill set, which he can be a guy that lines up at 3 tech all the way out to 5 tech, can even hold up against double teams at times. I don't think that's what you want him to be his primary role. I think as a penetration style guy that can line up in between 3 and 5 and get the job done for you as a pass rusher, as a disruptor. If you don't land Mason Graham at 5 overall for whatever reason, I think Darius Alexander at 36 makes a ton of sense. I think he kind of fits that mold of what the Rams have looked for. Obviously has longer arms. But he's an athlete, he's a pass rusher, and I've heard stories about his preparation. It is extremely good. So that's another intangibly rich type of player. And I think that's another thing you keep in mind. I think Savone Revel has had a not the easiest path to where he is right now. Darius Alexander, intangibly rich with his preparation. These are guys that keep those things in mind, right? Malachi Starks. Yes, Malachi Starks. Who's a player, once upon a time I was talking about the Jaguars, maybe thinking about him at 5 or in a trade down. Now it looks like folks have soured on another top safety. You see it happen every single year, seemingly. Whether it be, Kyle Hamilton falling to where he fell or Brian Branch falling all the way to the second round. Overthink on these safeties is unbelievable. And Malachi Starks, what can't he do on the football field from the safety position? I don't know that there's a good answer. I really don't. And yeah, he didn't have like the craziest 40 time. I think he ran like a 4.51, something like that, right? What was it? So at the combine, he came in, he was 6'1", 197, 31 and 5/8 arms, 9.5-inch hands, 4.5 flat, 40-yard dash, 1.5 110 split. That is very explosive, but only a 33-inch vert. So, people are like, what's going on here? 7.26, 3-cone, 4.45, 20-yard shuttle. These numbers aren't like unbelievable, but the numbers for his on-field tracking are really good. He's fluid. He's a fluid mover. He is playing a position at safety that has a lot more to do with instincts than it does to do with your pure testing numbers. Instincts, recognition, all these things I think really are in favor of. And he steps on the field at Georgia and is immediately an impact player. He has the versatility to step into the slot, even play outside at times, outside cornerback. I think he can play free safety. I think he can play in the box for you. Malachi Starks can do everything. And he's, again, just somebody who knows how to make plays on the football. He's consistent. He's not going to be a guy that's given up a lot and making mistakes for you, mental mistakes. But he's also a playmaker. You look at his career. 6 interceptions, 14 pass breakups. You also have 44 total stops, which is a tackle that constitutes a failure for the offense. You also have a very low missed tackle percentage. He's a good run defender. He's a good coverage player. I don't understand. And he's only 21 years old. I honestly cannot fathom Malachi Starks falling to the second round, but I felt the same exact way about Brian Branch. And I think the athletic metrics might be a little bit better for Malachi Starks than they were for Brian Branch. If he falls to the second round, if he falls to 36, I mean, sprint the dang pick in. It's a position of need. I mean, the Jaguars safety room is not great. So, absolutely, I'd be in on Malachi Starks. Next guy up is an edge player. Another one I just can't fathom falling to the second round. But it seems like the NFL is just out on Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M, and I don't think his projection is super dissimilar to what Jared Verse's was last year. I think he is a little bit bigger than Jared Verse, but explosive, 6'3", 257 pounds, which he played up in the 280s at Texas A&M this year for whatever reason. Ridiculous, in my opinion. 33-inch arms, 10-inch hands. If you just go back, and he's only 20. I think he's still 20. Not going to be... Yeah, Nick Scorton, he's one of the youngest guys in this draft. But you go back and look at his tape. Yeah, he's 20. He turns 21 in August. His tape in 2023 at Purdue. And there's flashes of it here and there at Texas A&M. I don't know why they have those guys playing so darn big at Texas A&M. Their defense really pisses me off. But go back and look at him in 2023 at Purdue, where I think he was playing in the 260s. And this is a guy that is a dynamic edge rusher who has speed to power, has the explosiveness, and that's what Jared Verse wins with, right? So he has that to his game, that element to his game, but he also has inside spin, outside spin, cross chop, Euro step. He has experience lining up, kind of mugged up, as a interior rusher, 2-point stance, head up over the center or in between the center and the guard. He can penetrate that way. He has the frame to be a really good run defender as well and set the edge. To me, this guy just is like, edge 3 is important. It is. Is it as important as like IDL 1? Cornerback, I don't know, but Nick Scorton to me is somebody who could potentially be a Jacksonville Jaguar if he's there at 36, and I just don't understand him not being a first-round guy. I don't one bit. The final name we're going to talk about here today is somebody who we used to talk about a lot. Haven't been talking about him as much lately. I think Tyler Booker, you want to talk about intangibly rich? The guard out of Alabama? My goodness. Tyler Booker is like the definition of a leader. He talks about wanting to take the will out of his opponent. He talks about wanting his opponent to quit loving football because of the way he manhandles them. And you hear that and you see what he says, what he does on tape, and he manhandles people. You know exactly what you're getting with Tyler Booker. And I know the testing is not good for him. It's not. And that's probably why he could fall to 36. But James Gladstone and the Rams, they're not unfamiliar with, going and getting big boys on the interior, which Tyler Booker is about as big and physical as they come, both from a strength standpoint and the length, the hands, the wingspan. He is going to be stout in pass protection, and he is going to maul people in the run game. And, the Jags probably want to have a balanced rushing attack. It's not all this, it's not all that. I think Tyler Booker can be part of a balanced rushing attack. I really do. He's not made to be an exclusively outside zone guy. There's no question about that. He fits more in a gap power scheme. Guess what? Liam Cohen, he did that a lot last year. I don't know what the Jaguars' plan will be this year. But if a guy like Tyler Booker falls to 36, that could be a golden opportunity to land someone who's going to be a leader, who's going to anchor that interior of that offensive line, and to bring the nastiness, the physicality that this team has looked like they've lacked at times. So those are those guys I wanted to talk about. Again, Luther Burden, Emeka Ibuka, Donovan Jackson, Gray Zabel, Donovan Ezraku, Derek Harmon. If any of these guys are falling into this range, absolutely. I don't think they will. But those are 5 names I really wanted to talk about today. 5 guys I'd be fired up about. And guys that I think the Jaguars could potentially really like. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.